All right, everybody, how's it going? It is Wednesday, December 29th, 2021. And of course, now we're heading into week 17 of the regular season. We have another week after this because, the 17 game schedule or whatever. But as per usual, this time of season, there's a lot of clinching scenarios. There's a lot of teams that can clinch their ticket to the playoffs, win their division this week. There's teams that can clinch like first round buys and stuff, as you can see with Green Bay here. I don't think that's possible quite yet in the AFC. That's probably going to come down to, they do, okay. The Chiefs can also clinch a first round buy this week. But, so we're looking at like who could get the 1 seed, who can win their division, who can clinch the final playoff seeds. All of this could happen this week, or nothing could happen this week. It's one of those interesting situations you come into late into the season when all of the wild card teams seem to be very closely linked, and a lot of division leaders seem to be closely linked. Not too much has been figured out yet. Let's see. In terms of the AFC or NFC, let's look at it. I think Green Bay has clinched their division and a playoff spot. Yeah, X and Y. Okay. Dallas has clinched their division in a playoff spot. The Rams have clinched a playoff spot. Tampa Bay has their division in a spot. Arizona has a spot. San Francisco seems to have a spot. Or wait, what's the K stand for? Oh, knocked out a division. Okay. So it stops at Arizona. So it seems like they have 5 and they have 2 spots remaining for, it looks like San Francisco, and Philadelphia, Minnesota, Atlanta. Everybody else is kind of probably eliminated. They actually have the Panthers down eliminated. So Panthers, Bears, not Mariners, what the fuck? Seahawks, Giants, and Lions, of course. And then you look at the AFC, which is still wide open, by the way. The Chiefs are the only team that have clinched a playoff spot. That's it. They're the only team with the playoff spot. Because if you look as far down as the 13th seed, is still theoretically in play for one of these playoff spots. Every single spot. Other really than, even if the Titans were to lose 2 games and Indy was to win out, they would win the division. Buffalo could lose in New England. Miami could still win the division if some crazy shit happens. They're still wide open. So right now it's just the Chiefs and they have the division as well. But that can change after this weekend, of course. With the NFC, there's not a lot left to clinch. There's 2 playoff spots, Philly and San Francisco, as you can see here. Let's start with Green Bay, though. They're the first team listed. Green Bay can clinch a first-round bye and a home field advantage if the following 3 things, one of the 3 things happens. They win and Dallas loses or ties. If they were to tie, the following situations could also give them the first-round bye. Dallas has to lose. The Rams have to lose or tie, and Tampa Bay has to lose or tie. So basically, if Green Bay wins and Dallas loses, which doesn't seem likely because I believe Dallas could lose playing the Cardinals. Green Bay probably will win playing the Vikings this week with what's on the line. They're going to amp it up and really kind of put it to a team they don't like, try to get back for the early season loss, one of their few. Let's see what else. The Rams clinched the NFC division title with... Are the Cardinals not able to win the division? Oh yeah, they still could. It's just the Rams are able to clinch this week. If they win and the Rams lose, or if the Rams win and the Cardinals lose or tie, or if the Rams tie and the Cardinals lose. So if the Cardinals lose, it puts this into really big jeopardy for them to still win the division. Because all the Rams have to do is win or tie. As long as the Rams don't lose this week, it puts a lot of pressure on the Cardinals. And the Rams are playing somebody not that good, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look. Oh, they got the Ravens. So that's a pretty pressure game. But when you're the Cardinals, you're playing the Cowboys this week. So that's a tough one. Neither team has an easy game this week. Let's go down to the Philadelphia Eagles, the surprise team, I would say, one of the surprise teams of the season. I think a lot of us had Philly finishing in the bottom 5 in terms of draft picks, maybe bottom 10 in terms of we just didn't know what they were going to be. But hey, here they are with 8-7 with a chance to really surprise everybody and even clinch a playoff berth. They have to win. Minnesota has to lose or tie, and New Orleans has to lose or tie. Or Philadelphia has to win. Obviously, these are the win situations. Minnesota has to lose or tie, and San Francisco has to win or tie. So those 2 situations it's a little confusing how San Fran winning gives them a playoff berth, but it might be like strength of schedule or common opponents or something like that. I'm not too certain. But if Philly ties, Minnesota loses, Atlanta loses or ties, and New Orleans loses, then Philly locks it up. Or the fourth one, the ties are the least likely ones, so I kind of don't really care. When Philly ties, if Minnesota loses, Atlanta loses or ties, New Orleans ties, and San Francisco wins or ties. And so Philly has the Giants? No, they just played them. Eagles this week play, I like them forgetting Washington. So that's not the easiest game as it's the division one, but like based on what we've seen from Washington, if they look anything like they did against the Cowboys, the Eagles will blow them out. So San Francisco seems to have a little bit of a easier time with getting in. New Orleans, I believe, has – who the hell did New Orleans play? Why do I not know this off the top of my head? I have to keep looking it up. Panthers? Oh, that's a toss-up depending on what the Saints look like. But San Francisco can clinch their playoff spot with a win and a New Orleans loss or tie. Or San Francisco can tie, New Orleans has to lose, Minnesota has to lose or tie, and Atlanta has to lose or tie. So basically the best spot for the Eagles and 49ers to kind of secure up and seal up the NFC playoffs would be for them to win. New Orleans has to lose, it looks like, or tie, and Minnesota has to lose or tie. And then if those three things happen, it puts Philadelphia and San Francisco right where they need to be. But they both have to win for it to happen. Green Bay can clinch up their spot, and it looks like the Rams can clinch the division. So that's the NFC. We slide down to the AFC, and there's a lot of shit that can happen because it's still essentially wide open. Since the Chiefs who play the Bengals this week, so that's kind of an exciting win, kind of a big game for everybody. So it'll be tough on the Bengals who can clinch the AFC North with a win this week, or it'll be tough on the Chiefs who can secure a first-round bye if they win. So that's going to be quite the game. I'm surprised that wasn't flexed to Sunday Night Football, no matter, that seems like the biggest game of the week. But the Kansas City can clinch a first-round bye and home field advantage with a win and a Tennessee Titans loss or tie, or if Kansas City ties and Tennessee loses, they clinch the first round bye. So basically, Kansas City has to beat another very high-rated team in the Bengals, and the Tennessee Titans have to lose to the Dolphins. So they need a little help, but they can clinch their bye seed. Going down, we can look at as we said, Cincinnati can clinch the division with an outright win. They win if they can beat the Chiefs, they win the North. Surprise, surprise, here come the Bengals. But there are a couple other scenarios that doesn't even involve them. If the Browns were to tie and Baltimore loses, they win the division. If they tie with the Chiefs and Baltimore loses or ties, they win the division. So they need Baltimore to lose and maybe Cleveland ties, and they can just wrap that thing up. So, hey, if you're a Bengals fan, maybe you're rooting for a tie between the Browns and Steelers this weekend. The Titans who play the Dolphins this weekend, if they win, they win the South. Basically, win and you're in if you're the Titans. It's your division. It's your division crown. All you have to do is beat the Dolphins. And I think because of the COVID rules being changed, the Titans should be a lot healthier, almost at full health. So that'll be a big thing, should help them out quite a bit. Also, they could get in with an Indy loss. So if the Indianapolis Colts were to lose to, I think the Colts have a hard team to play this week. Let me look. I lied. They play the Raiders. So yeah, that's not that difficult. So if Indy does lose, they can win the division, or they just got to win. But if both teams tie, Indy clinches the AFC South. Tennessee can just clinch a playoff berth with the following. That doesn't even have to do with them. If they tie, and the Chargers lose to the Broncos, and the Ravens lose to the Rams, right? Yeah, Rams, right? Or the Patriots lose or tie in both situations, and the Chargers lose or tie in some situations. So this one's probably not going to happen because the Patriots play the Jaguars. So I don't know about that. But that's how Tennessee can get into the playoffs. They don't even have to essentially play for their situation. If Baltimore loses to the Rams and the Chargers lose to the Broncos, hey, congratulations, Tennessee. You're in the playoffs in some capacity. All right, Buffalo has 2 win scenarios. You could see all these ties here. I'm not going to go over how they can clinch a playoff berth with ties, but because they play the Falcons, I think they're going to win. That's the more important thing. So basically, here's how Buffalo can clinch their playoff berth, get into the playoffs. They're finally in. They're in. Not necessarily win the division. I don't think the division can come down till next week for the AFC East. So if Buffalo wins and Baltimore loses, Buffalo playing the Falcons and obviously Baltimore playing the Rams. That's how this can go. Or Buffalo wins, the Chargers lose their tie, and the Raiders lose their tie. So those three scenarios could basically be like those three things happening can put Buffalo into the playoffs and get themselves a spot. Not necessarily the division. I'm not going to go over the now 7 other scenarios that could happen because, I mean, it gets pretty crazy. A lot of ties and weird shit. The New England Patriots can clinch a playoff berth. Hopefully they do. So, again, it's much like Buffalo. There's 2 situations where they win and the rest are ties, so I'm not quite interested in that. So they can get a little help from the Colts. If New England wins and the Colts beat the Raiders, then the Patriots would clinch their playoff spot. Or if the Titans were to beat the Dolphins, the Patriots would get in. So basically, New England wins and Miami loses their ties, or New England wins and the Raiders lose their ties. So basically, the Patriots can kind of slip in and get themselves a berth with a little help from their friends. The Colts, they're good buddies. And the final scenario of this week would be the Indianapolis Colts can clinch a playoff spot, clinch a playoff berth with a win. Winning, they're in. They have the simplest route. Just go ahead and beat the Raiders and you're in. Or the 2 tie scenarios that I don't care to go over. There are elimination scenarios as well. Ooh, interesting. Look at this. Holy shit. If Baltimore and the Raiders... Dude, holy shit. That's another video. I'm not going to do all that because that seems like a different video in and of itself. But yeah, those are the playoff clinching scenarios for week 17. Of course, there'll be another video like this made next week when we go over week 18 scenarios, who can get in, if there's spots still to claim, if maybe this week goes crazy and everything gets filled up. You never know. That's the craziest thing. Like right now, there's one team clinched in the AFC. This time Monday or Tuesday, it could be 6 teams are filled in the AFC and the NFC is all filled as well. That's the coolest part about this time of year. So, it could make week 18 one of the more exciting weeks, or pretty much just standard procedure. Well, maybe 1 or 2 teams can punch their ticket. So we'll see what happens. Let me know what you think of the video down below. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. I appreciate everybody subscribing. Just leave your thoughts down below. I'll be sure to get back to you as soon as possible. What scenario do you see most likely? I could see the most likely to me would probably have to be Green Bay clinching. I don't know about Dallas losing. I think the Rams could clinch the NFC West this week. I think Philadelphia will probably get a playoff berth this week. And I think also it's not super likely San Francisco does. I think it's possible Kansas City can clinch here, but it really depends on what the Miami and Titans game looks like. Poor Cincinnati, I don't think that happens for them this week. I think Tennessee gets into the playoffs in some capacity. I think Indy does. I think the Patriots and Buffalo both clinch. And we'll see with week 7. Yeah, basically I think Indy's going to basically I think the Indy wins, New England wins, and that puts both of those 2 into the playoffs. This is basically what I'm thinking is going to happen. I think New England's going to win. The Indy's going to go ahead and beat the goddamn Raiders, which isn't, as long as they're healthy, they will. So that puts these 2 into the playoffs. That's 2 of the seeds secured. I think Buffalo's going to win. I think the Rams are going to beat the Ravens, so that puts Buffalo into the playoffs. There's 3. So now we're up to 4 teams clinched. I'm pretty sure the Titans will get in. If they don't, they start to worry themselves. And then, so if the Titans, as long as they win, we're up to 5, and that leaves 2 spots left in the playoffs for whomever it may be. May it be one of the AFC North teams, because that division would still be decided, and one final wild card, whether that be the Dolphins if they win and keep, in this scenario it would appear the Dolphins have lost, so it would be like the Chargers. The Dolphins are still alive in that scenario. Raiders could still be alive. Broncos could still be alive if they win. So there's a lot of. Let's see. If Miami loses, are they done? Oh, Miami's out. Okay. Oh no, they would need the Raiders to win. No, they could straight up be eliminated. Yeah, if the Raiders win, that really messes up Miami. They really can't afford the Raiders winning this weekend. But all right, everybody, I appreciate it very much. Thank you so much for listening. Let me know what you think down below. Let me know what your thoughts on the most likely to happen. But yeah, those are the Week 17 NFL playoff clinching scenarios. Thanks for listening. Have a good rest of your day, night, morning, whenever you listen to this. And Happy New Year, and stay safe out there. Peace out.